It's okay. Hey, this is Chuck Walker with Southeastern Termite Pest Control, certified carpet cleaners and certified restoration. Here today for a Wednesday edition of our Coach's Corner. A little bit early this week, but we're out of school on Friday and we play on Thursday, so it's kind of a backwards week all around.
Yes, it is.
I tell you. So excited, this time a week ago, coming to do this, and I know this time now, coming off a tough loss, how tough it was for all the fans to see that last week. Does this short week coming up this week and playing on Thursday night, coming off that loss to Milan, does that help us or hurt us?
Well, we'll see. We'll see Thursday night. We definitely didn't have time to dwell on the loss. We had to get over it, and we watched film Saturday morning like we always do. And then Monday, before I said, don't get on the practice field till you're over it, because if we're worried about what happened last Friday, there's nothing you can do about the past, so you got to be able to respond to the next step. And so we've really had 2 really good days practice, and we need another great day today, and then play well tomorrow night.
Well, that's right. And you said something about watching film on Saturdays like you always do. When you went back and looked at that tape, what all went wrong last week?
Well, unfortunately, we a few breaks went against us. They get a punt inside the 1, and we get a save. See, we come out and it's 13-7, and we get a stop, and then they punted it, and we need to catch that punt, keep it out of inside the 10, and it goes to the 1. We get a safety, and then the next punt we don't get a very good punt right there, and then. Things just kept getting worse and snowballed, and we kind of challenged our kids. You can't let the previous play affect your next play, and it kind of looked like on film that as things started going downhill, we didn't respond with a lot of toughness that we're capable of doing. But for whatever reason, we had great weeks of practice, and it didn't show up on Thursday. So we've done some game type situations, to help them understand that. You just got to do what you've been coached to do. And one thing we got great kids that care, and it bothered them that they lost. And so we're going to do everything. Obviously, we didn't have them prepared, and I didn't have them prepared and coached well enough to do it. So we have really worked hard this week to get this straightened out, because our fans deserve better than what we put on the field last Friday.
Well, I tell you, if anybody, we say it all the time on our broadcast, if anybody can make adjustments, it's you, and we got nothing but faith in you. Going back to that third quarter, because we had a big momentum shift there at the end of the first half, scoring right there at the first half, and like you said, we got to stop. They just got two punts in that third quarter that were down on the 1. But it seemed, from watching it up top, it seemed like that quarter lasted for an hour. So I can't imagine what it seemed like for you. But when you went back and looked at that, specifically that quarter, which was the toughest quarter I can remember us playing this season, did you find any positives out of that, or was that just? I know it's a tough question, but was there any?
Sure. There were some. We played pretty hard. We would just make little mental mistakes by lining up wrong. Yeah. And everything we did was correctable. Yeah. And so, our kid, and they care. They're really good kids that are fun to coach, and so we just have to make sure and correct those little things. Those little things become big things in football so easily and so fast. And the scoreboard, as you watch film of the game and you realize, or if you're there and go back and watch the film, you realize it wasn't that far away. We just made a few little mistakes here and there that snowballed on us, and it was just kind of like a nightmare you couldn't wake up from that quarter.
That's exactly right, and he's right. You can go back and watch that film on point5digital.com. You can watch it on Hornet Vision 38355. The USJ team, they've been on a roll this year since playing Trinity earlier in the year. I think Trinity got them 35-0 early in the year, but since then they've really picked it up. What's our game plan going in to slow them down? I think they've been on just an offensive tear here lately.
Yeah, they have. They're really good. They're 5-2. They've lost to Trinity, and then ECS, who's a great team out of Memphis. But they are they're the same USJ that they've always been. Every year we owe a lot to Coach Marley, because our very first year when we were just starting a program, he scrimmaged us with a JV team when we were really bad, and so he's always been there for us, and so we owe a lot to him. They're so well coached. They're just the same, doing the same things, and every year he tells them, we don't have a quarterback, we're going to go away from this offense, and he develops them somehow, and they can throw it. So we have to put some pressure on the quarterback. We've got to be able to defend the pass this week. And then they got a running back, a sophomore running back that runs really hard. He runs downhill, and they're so well coached up front. Those 5 guys really work well in unison. So we've got to find a way to put pressure on the passer without sending so many people that we can't cover the receivers. And then offensively, we just got to take care of the football. That was our biggest problem, was moving it and taking care of it. No matter what we called, something bad kept going wrong.
Right.
And so we've gone back to the basics, just regular fundamentals, and our game plan can't get any more simpler because, we told our coaches that obviously the things we were doing, we got confused in the third quarter when things went crazy. So these kids know how to play football, and they've been coached in the fundamentals, and we're going to be good at blocking and tackling and taking care of the football, and that's the best chance it gives to win.
Well, I agree with that. And, Coach, when I was doing the senior spotlights myself there the first couple of weeks, and now even with Drake doing them, one of the things that we always ask is, what are some things that you've learned from Coach Stedham and that coaching staff? And knowing you a little bit personally like I do, I know you're a great man of faith and of character. And I can tell you, as a father of 2 young kids, a 2-year-old and 11-year-old, I can't wait for them to play for you one day. I really can't. And that's the highest compliment I can give anyone. But I know, obviously, I've never coached anything successfully, as we talked about last week. But I do understand learning from losses. And if you ever go back and you ever read a book that a successful person wrote, be it in sports or in real life, or different, not real life, but you know what I mean. They always talk about you learn a lot more from your losses than you do your wins, right? What are some things this season? I know it hasn't gone exactly like we wanted to draw it up at the beginning of the year. What are some things that you've talked in those moments? Because that's the tough part, man. Everybody's great at celebrating, right? Sure. Anybody can celebrate. It takes its character to move on from that. What are some of the things, just giving us an inside look on maybe just part of that locker room, on things that you say to those kids to keep their character high? Because believe it or not, they're going to lose again in some form or fashion. I hope not. Hope not this year. Hope not ever. But in some walk of their life, they're going to lose again, because we always do. And so what are some of the things, Coach, that you say to them to help mold and shape our kids?
Well, one thing we do is we've just talked to them about life. You're going to face adversity. You're going to face difficulties, and football's just a picture of life. When you're sitting there and, we fumble, well, that next play, let's go. And we've talked to our kids about, at some point, your boss is going to come up to you and say, you got to make 5 sales by Friday or you're fired.
That's going to happen.
And so what are you going to do? Are you going to roll up your sleeves and go make 5 sales? Or you're just going to go, well, I can't do it, and quit. And so it's just like in football. After a fumble, when you get pinned in the 5, what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? And we just told them, you're not quitters. You're great kids. That next step, let's go. If you're whatever adversity, you think about the adversity that we have all gone through in life, whether family problems, work problems, whatever. You can just, I hope those kids someday can look back when they're going through this difficult and say, you know what? We made it through South Gibson County's tough football program. Yeah. I can make it through this. And I hope that's something that sticks with these kids. But, shoot, all we've done is lost a couple games. There's people going through real life things that it's not that big a deal. We need to keep it in perspective. And we've still got a chance to have a great football season.
Absolutely.
And we're going to hopefully get this thing going the right way Thursday night.
Well, I can tell you, taking my Hornet Vision cap off here for a second, just as a fan, man, there's nobody else I'd rather have up here than you and the group of coaches that we have. And I'm ready to go to war every week. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be talking. I'm going to gargle some salt water before we get going, whatever I need to do, maybe stretch out a little bit. We'll be ready to go. We'll be ready this Thursday night at USJ as the South Gibson takes on USJ, and hopefully we got a lot more fun things to talk about next week.
Oh, well, let's have a great one next week.
Go Hornets.